I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death.
As the night sets tonight, here you are with me, Batjack JW. It is the still of the night, as the shadows seem to take over everything. The sun has already gone down. Now every sound is enhanced, from the dogs barking to the sound of the tires hitting the pavement. Perhaps it's raining. Perhaps the pavement has a nice gloss to it, as those lamps overhang on the streets, seeming to cover everything with a yellow fluorescent color, maybe a dull color. All the signs on buildings and restaurants illuminate like a beacon. Maybe you are drawn to it. Maybe you want to go. But everything is different at night. Everything. It's almost like you've stepped into some sort of Rod Serling kind of world. But here we are, and it's Batjack JW, and we're back with Still of the Night. And I want to actually talk to you guys about something, because this one is really interesting. This fella, Bill Ravenhurst, had called me just the other day, and he had told me some actually unfortunate news, and that the news was that he actually has a all year round haunted house that resides at this little cowboy town that is also a steakhouse. He had actually gave me the unfortunate news that he is closing it down. This is actually really sad, because now let's go back and rewind to the point where I remember going there and checking it out and going through the haunted house once, and I said, well, this is going to be interesting, so let's go. And it is unlike any other haunted house I've ever gone through. I remember as a kid going through a haunted house with my parents that was down at the shopping center, and I remember it really freaked me out. So I've always intrigued by these. Now, Bill Ravenhurst does a classic type haunt that is not like your usual stuff. He's very influenced by the Winchester House and Victorian era type stuff. Really cool. And I got to actually check it out and go through it. And in fact, after I went through it, I enjoyed it so much, and it was such a captivating thing. It was so interesting, the mystique of it, the classic feel of it, the fact that he uses your own mind to psych you out. Your own mind has created a monster that really may not even exist. It is truly the Chamber of Secrets, kind of like a Harry Potter novel. Every door may not be a door. Walkways may not appear as they are. And that's what it was. And I remember after finishing this, I went through and I came out and I actually went back. And I had to talk to this guy. I had to talk to him. I felt compelled to talk to this guy that I just met, Bill Ravenhurst. And I said, I got to go talk to him. So I told my friends, I said, I'll be right back. So I went and talked to him. I just told him, I said, man, that had been one of the finest haunted houses I've ever seen. Truly, this was a man that really, really loves what he did and loves what he has done there. And so I told him, I said, this is really fantastic. And he actually invited me back. And he says, why don't you come back another night and be a part of it? I thought, wow, really? So I did. I think the following night or whatever, I actually went back, and I got to be a part of it. And I got welcomed to the team, and I got to see all the secrets and the corridors and the hidden tunnels, if you would, and the it's basically the whole place was a house within a house, if that makes sense. There was all these passages in the place that led to all over the place, and I got to be a part of scaring people in this place. It was really amazing. I went always, every week. There was a point where I was going every week, every day that they were open at night, and I was going down there and doing this. It was really interesting. I never got to experience anything quite like that, to step out and frighten somebody without doing the usual jump out and jump scare and make a bunch of noise and scream at people. No, this approach was more the silent approach and just appearing out of nowhere. So as I was doing this, I decided to come up with my own mask to use. And what I came up with was inspired by the Texarkana murders back in, I think it was like the 40s. This mask I made was just out of burlap, and it was just some eyes cut into it, and kind of a motionless mouth. The mask had no expression. It was blank. It reflected emptiness. It let your mind really wander. It was very crudely made, and when I would put this thing on and step out from the darkness, either behind somebody or next to somebody, it really set an eerie tone, and that was really interesting to be a part of something like that, to really had frightened somebody without any kind of vocaling, just by presence, just by stepping out of nowhere and just appearing. That was really interesting, and it was really a fun thing to be a part of. It was this Ravenhurst classic family haunt that existed that I really, like I said, I really had fun with it. It's so neat how the bookcase would open. You weren't thinking about the bookcase, and I remember like my first time going through there, the initial, you step into the room and he says, you have choices here. We can go through this door right here, or we can go through the attic, or we can go through the cellar. It's up to you. And little did you know, and it's so believable when you're in this room. It is so believable, and it's completely embellished with all of these really neat artifacts of antique type things. He's really inspired by mausoleums and whatnot as well. So there's things in there. There's coffins, there's urns, there's just stuff that's really it's that creepy side of things, and it really gets you believing that there's a cellar, there's an upstairs. In reality, there isn't. What happens is the bookcase opens up, and then you step into another room, and it's like a red room with pictures on the wall, very, very like something out of like a Scooby-Doo episode from the 60s or something, just really cool. Just the way it's all set up, and then misdirection, and how he uses that misdirection to make you believe that we're going somewhere we're not. And the cool thing about this whole bit was that really fascinated with me was you go through this whole house, and you're going through this door, that door, you're walking down this, and really you haven't gone much distance. It's a place that made you believe that you went all through this house. Really, that wasn't that large of a house. I mean, it was pretty big, but it wasn't. It was an illusion. It made you feel like you traveled further than you really did. It made you feel like you got deeper into this house than you really did. But that was the neat thing about the darkness of it all, and the very low lighting in there. And he had really neat ways to trigger things electronically, where music boxes start turning on, and really used a lot of the antiques and stuff to really sell what was happening, and you believed it. And that was what was so neat about it. He got inside your head and made you believe that, to the point where you were seeing things, but yet some of the things you saw may have been just made up in your own head, but were kind of there, actually there. He would use things like tactics like saying, we're entering a room and there's tarantulas in there. Well, in reality, yeah, there really were tarantulas in there, but they were kept in cages. But that just by saying that, you're going to be in places where tarantulas are. There was actually real spider webs and fake spider webs. So things you ran into at the same time being fake are real as well. And really neat, like I said, what I liked liked about it was the fact it was kind of like the movie Phantasm, where nothing is truly as it seems. And that was what was so neat about this whole experience. And I really like to thank Bill Ravenhurst for giving me the opportunity and the chance to be a part of it, to experience it. And he did this solely, he kept it going by simply volunteers. Every one of us were volunteers there. We volunteered our time to make it happen. And, in much respect to all those that really stayed with it and did it. And I got to admit, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. There was a lot of really, he fed us. He always made sure he had, dinner and stuff to drink. He would make homemade apple cider in there. I was invited up to this man's home during, I believe it was it was some sort of party. I don't remember if it was Christmas. It might have been Christmas. Was invited up there, and got to experience his home. His home is just as unbelievable as the haunt itself. His home is completely decorated like that. Really a neat guy. Somebody that has the true passion to really do it. And he really paid out of his own pocket to keep it going. There was a lot of moments there where he sold off assets of his own to keep it going. And, it's sad to see it, come to an end. But I guess all things must, as they say, right? But I was just very happy to been a part of that, to say, I got to experience that, because I never got to experience anything like that. And especially when you go from thinking of a haunted house of jump scares, people jumping out of corridors or dark alleys and screaming at you. It wasn't so much that. It was a lot of the scare tactics was left to your own imagination. And in a way, that's worse than anything, is what you can conjure up in your own mind is worse than anything you'll ever see. And really, in the end, you walk out of there scared, and you have realized that you really didn't see, nothing real physical coming at you or moving. You created it in your own head. You believed that something moved or something was there that really wasn't there. You had created all of it. And that is absolutely frightening. That was something really neat to have been a part of. I'm Batjack JW. Thanks for tuning in to Still of the Night. We'll catch you next time.